and we should be on. And well, for the opening words, I'll give it over to Maria to make a start. I will mute everyone else meanwhile.
Hi, Elani. Hi. Nice to see you. Josh, this is the first time I see you, and all our people are coming, joining us. So we'll wait for maybe 1 minute. But before that, I'm really I appreciate that you decided to join us as speakers. And okay, people joining. So my name is Maria. I'm a founder of Zipsale. For those who haven't seen me or don't know about me, we decided to build Zipsale this year, and we're still doing that. Elani was one of the first early birds who started using Zipsale, as I remember. And we want to share with you what we've learned while we're building Zipsale, and we would like to run series of webinars and investigate this formula, how to become a successful reseller, and investigate trends and understand how to help you with our product to grow and build your business. And I hope that it will be valuable and useful for you. So don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook community, ask any questions, and be aware that myself, Marilyn, and myself, we are always there for you online, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Zendesk, emails. So we are waiting for your feedback, and we are really happy that Zipsale is growing and so many great people join us. And so I'm handing it to Marilyn, and let's start talking about this beautiful vintage industry and business and how to grow it. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you so much, Maria. So just a little introduction to myself as well. I think most people might have spoken to me at one point or another. So I'm Marilyn. I'm Customer Success Manager at Zipsale. And today our main goal is to talk to experienced resellers, talk about their tips and tricks and their journey, how they got to where they are right now. So we have 4 speakers in total. I'll be talking to them one by one. The first one up today is Queenie. So Queenie, thank you again for joining in. For the sake of this conversation, let's pretend that we have never met. So I'll ask you the questions we've already talked about quite a bit, but can you just introduce yourself to our attendees a little bit, and what do you do?
Yep. Well, I go by Queenie Conquest. That's just because I use that name in the community, in the reselling community. It pops up on YouTube and Instagram as well. But my name is Elaine Conquest. And I've been selling on eBay since it started in 2003. And at that point, I had a full-time career in buying. I was as a ladies' wear buyer and a sportswear buyer and a children's wear buyer throughout my career for a mail order catalogue company here in Bradford. We got made redundant just before I had my first child. So after that, I kind of found my way into reselling as a business, because I'd already been using already been using eBay to sell my unwanted goods, handbags, stuff that you'd wear at work, branded clothing, which was massive at the time. So I was kind of familiar with eBay, just didn't really see it as could do it as a business. But it was when you were kind of forced into that situation where you're at home with the kids or at home with a kid at the time, you make it work. So you were then buying stuff in the charity shop, selling it on. And that kind of just grew from there, really.
Absolutely. That's great. And basically, maybe you can explain a bit in more detail, how exactly did you get started? So I understand it started all from eBay, but how did you grow to a level where you are right now? What did you do?
Well, I mainly because you as you grow and you see that you can make some money of it, then you then know that you have to increase your listings. So then you go out sourcing more, and then you maximize what you can in the charity shop, saying how else can I get more listings up, in a quicker time. And that would be then to go to wholesale, and a lot of the wholesalers really were vintage wholesalers. So that's the product was easier for me to get hold of than anything else. And I'd already started Etsy in about 2017, and obviously that warranted vintage, and it's obviously something I've always been interested in. So that's how I managed to grow that. I've been able to get hold of more product easier by going to the wholesaler rather than just shopping the charity shops. And obviously you needed to bring an income in. As you get an income and you see you can make some money of it, the thing is, like you would any job, when you want a pay rise, you have to kind of work out how to bring in more money, and to do that you need to increase your listings.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Well, you basically covered my next question already as to why are you selling the items that you do, but related to this as well, I think a lot of people might be interested in how much research is involved in it. Like, how do you know which items you pick out? How do you know what sells the best? Where do you get that knowledge?
Well, I think first of all, your knowledge starts with what you're familiar with, or what you already like doing. If you have a hobby and you're familiar with a hobby, whether it be cycling or running, you might want to venture. You know a lot about running shoes or sportswear. And if for me, being into vintage clothing, gosh, I do apologise, but it's school ringing.
That's fine. No worries. No problem at all.
Sorry, apologise.
No worries. Right. Sorry about that, everyone. We'll just wait a couple of minutes, and I'm just gonna mute Queenie in between. Things like this happen. We have another speaker who's about to join us, hopefully soon. He's stuck on the motorway as well, so I'm sure that everybody knows that life happens every now and again. So sorry about that. We'll just wait a few minutes until Queenie's back. Meanwhile, I forgot to mention, I see that there's a couple of people already active on the chat. So if you have any questions, anything, please feel free to use the Q&A section, or you can even raise your hand if you want to, or just throw any comments, messages, questions in the chat box. I'll try to keep my eye on it as much as possible. And I can see that Queen is back. So sorry, I muted you, so you probably need
to say these are the obstacles you face, aren't you, when you work from home, mom, school ringing at any time.
Of course, that's completely.
Luckily, it was okay. Just wanted to chat, but it's like, no, it's not convenient to talk now.
Okay, that's great. So you're good to proceed.
Yep.
Happy days. Okay, so we left off with the knowledge. So where do you get all that knowledge and the background information? How do you pick your items and so on?
Yeah, I think mainly that comes from over time. You build that up as you go along. Like I said, start off with what you're familiar with and what you know. And then, as you go along and you pick up different things, whether it's different brands, or you might venture out into vintage homeware and stuff. Some stuff has markings on the bottom, if you're buying homeware, clothes, obviously with the brand labels. And if you do a Google search, you're going to become familiar, and you're going to learn as you go along, really. So it's not, you don't have to have all the knowledge straight away. Start with what you're familiar with, and then your knowledge will come as you go, grows with you. As your business grows, so does your knowledge of your product and your niche.
Absolutely, that absolutely makes sense to me. And just to ask, how much like testing and trying has been involved for you? Like, has there been, specific items that you think that, okay, I'm going to try to resell them, I like them, but you then maybe find out that they're absolutely not selling at all, or quite the opposite, that you picked something up you were not quite sure of, but it ended up being a really big hit.
Yeah, absolutely. That happens all the time. It still happens now, no matter how much experience you have, because of, because of trends, things come and go. What was good, and it's like, oh, I'm definitely picking that up, and you pick it up the next time, and it's, that's been and gone. That trend's been and gone. So it happens all the time. It's a constant trial and error.
Okay, I guess, yeah, that's part of how you learn as well, and how you get that experience. That's cool. That's great. Right, I'll move to the next topic, which is about making buyers aware. So, well, I know that you sell on multiple marketplaces. Can you maybe share a bit of your experience? How is it working out for you? Do you find it better to, have more exposure, be on multiple marketplaces, or how is it working out for you so far?
Yeah, well, I just sell on eBay and Etsy, and originally it was just eBay, as I said, because that's where my experience was, but you soon become aware that obviously if all your business is on eBay, if anything goes wrong with eBay, and around about 2017, people would start leaving eBay, or other issues would occur when they were changing algorithms and stuff. So it was like, we need to look at another marketplace. And at that point as well, there was a lot of other marketplaces growing with Etsy, and then Depop, and so there was more options for us to put on other marketplaces. So and it makes it easy. It makes it easier as well. The apps came along and they made it easier for to list and resell a product. So it's a no-brainer really. If you want to grow your business or get more exposure, you have to put it on other marketplaces as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We are the true supporters of this agenda, to be honest. Right. So when it comes to listing your items, is there anything special that you do? I know that there's people who are using some specific kind of photographs, or they add some specific text on their listings. Is there anything specific that you think is very important when you list your item?
Mostly getting a really good picture. Getting it on a clear background and taking some good photos is a number one priority, because the idea is that photo will stop people from scrolling up. You want them to stop. So a good photo to me is important. When it comes to your titles, this can get quite lengthy when we discuss titles, because I know everybody might do it differently. But originally when you do your titles, eBay had a set formula of the way you did it. So you put your brand first, then you'd put whether it was for men or women, color, size, and it'd go like, it'd pretty much go like that. And then you could, at the end, you'd shove on your attributes, as if you could fit it in. But obviously now we've got all the item specifics that does it all for you. So for me, getting, they're not a priority for me to get in my listing now. I tend to put more desirable keywords in there, or genre keywords. So I was saying things like, I'd put whether I trend keywords, so academia, mod, retro, I try and drop one of them in. And then I try and drop a desirable keyword. So that would be whether it's wool, tweed, cashmere, something that makes it a little bit more desirable. And then also be age appropriate with your keywords. If you've got an item of clothing and it's more for the mature person, you don't want to be abbreviating your words vintage to VTG, because they're not going to know that. So, and they might want to fund more on keywords as comfort, casual, soft, and then for the younger ones, you can drop in the keywords or abbreviated words that they might be using. So it's just paying attention to your titles as well, and how you write that. So so that would be my second one really, is get good photos and a good title, and then you've already got someone to stop and click on your item, and then you can then think, right, I need to price it right for the market, and all that should convert into a good sale.
Absolutely. When it comes to pricing, how do you decide that? How much research do you do?
Well, I kind of tend to go off what I've sold before, because I'm so used to buying the same type of product. And then you become aware of what brands are more desirable, so you can price that slightly higher. But if I was new to the game, then I would certainly just go straight into eBay and see what other people are doing, eBay and Etsy, or Google, just Google what it is, see what other people are selling it at, and then price it amongst the same, it's the same as everybody else.
Absolutely. Sure. And to move away from the marketplaces, I'm just wondering how much external marketing is involved in your reselling business. Like we have people in here, obviously, who are making videos on YouTube, who are using Instagram a lot. Is any of this important for you? Has it had a massive impact on how your business is going?
It's not had a massive impact on me because I don't put enough energy or effort into it. But I know if I was a new reseller, I think it'd be definitely you want to get out there on Instagram. You don't necessarily, you don't have to have a YouTube channel. Instagram is good enough for you to, put yourself out there and put your products on there. What new listings are coming up? Happy customer reviews. I think that that it definitely is important. And following on from once you've made that sale is you can put a thank you card in your parcels that go out, to attract returning customers. So yeah, especially with the amount of marketplaces we've got now and with the amount of resellers that are hit, you've got to do the whole package to make it, people to return to you. You want them to come back to you, so you need to have good communication with them. If they ask questions, you want to answer them as soon as you can, and making sure obviously the parcel goes out on time. And then if you want to stick a thank you card in, or some people do, then that all keeps the customer happy, and then hopefully they'll return. So yeah, it's definitely important, communication and marketing your products. And again, it's become so much easier. I mean, in the old days, before we had Instagram and anything like that, it was just once you made the sale, that was it. There was nothing really you could do about it. They were gone. Maybe they might come back, but you probably would never know that it was the same customer coming back unless you were really good at memorizing names. On Etsy, obviously, that they're a returning customer because it flashes up how many orders they've had with you. So then you can actually use that, email promo codes to them or let them know about sales coming on, even if you didn't have an Instagram account. There's tools there for you to use. And I think eBay, I don't know if one of the other resellers could touch on that. I think eBay have a similar type of thing where you can send out a voucher code. I haven't used it yet, but I know. So there is built-in tools now within the, the marketplaces that allow you to do, to do marketing. So
yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much, that was the next topic I wanted to cover as well. I understand that this kind of external marketing when it comes to YouTube and Instagram, it hasn't played a massive role for your business. No. Your key to success is basically keeping the customers happy via one-to-one conversation. Yeah, that's and basically, can you say that you have like some so-called loyalty customers, people who keep on coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. On Etsy, there's definitely returning customers, and there's customers that place when they place an order, they place 5 or 6 items, and you have a lot more overseas customers on Etsy than I do anywhere else. I mean, eBay is such a big platform and so many customers, once one's gone, another one comes along as such. I mean, it's still important to you to maintain a good communication with them, but it is a bit like, once one's gone, there's no need to panic because another one's going to come along. Do you know what I mean? There's not kind of that need to kind of like keep a customer, as comfortable or as loyal to you. Do you know what I mean? Because it's such a big marketplace. I don't know about Depop as well. I mean, that must be similar because that's on a smaller scale like Etsy. You want to maintain a good relationship with your customer because more likely they might, they're more likely to return to you than they are on eBay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I'm thinking now, how important are reviews for you? Because I've been an Etsy and eBay seller myself, and I remember obsessing about whenever I got the negative review, it could ruin a week for me. Yeah. How do you handle those situations?
No, I know, and I've heard people say the same, and it's like, to me, it's like, it's always going to happen. You can't please everybody, as long as you've done what you can do, then you've done the best you can, haven't you? You know, as long as you have handled it the way you would have handled everybody else, and it's been fine for everybody else, but for one person it's not. So I think that just again comes with it, you know, comes with experience. It's easy to just like let it be and move on. And I mean, touch wood, I haven't had a bad review for a long time, but I remember it yeah, in the early days, you know, and people, you know, well, after review and were very quite rude about it, you know, and it's like, that's the type of person they are, you know. It's not, that you can tell straight away by the way they communicate via emails that, you know, this, you can't really get your way around them unless they just want the item for free. And I think he's going to touch later on about how to deal with scammers and, you know, and that might be here with the bad reviews. You've just got to kind of like just accept it and move on. That's what I think anyway. Obviously, if it's unjustified, then you know, you can contact eBay and ask them to remove the feedback. But yeah. I haven't had an experience where, you know, I've had an Etsy, touch wood as well. I haven't had a bad review, so not really had to deal with that. So I hope I don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pain. Let's be honest. It's difficult. But well, we touched it, and you mentioned the scammers and the very difficult customers as well. Do you have maybe any specific examples that you've had? Some stories about difficult customers or some scammers and how you handled them?
I think probably back in the day, but honestly, I'm thinking about it, I haven't. I mean, again, that probably would depend on what type of product category you sell. For me, with used clothing, mainly women, you know, it's not really, and the price points are mid-range, you know, there's nothing really to scam about it. And if somebody says an item hasn't arrived, and if it hasn't gone tracked, you can't prove it, it's a case of just refunding and moving on for me. You know, there's no point dwelling on that and letting it cause, you know, any further delay in my working day. But I can understand if people are like George and Josh, whether they sell higher priced items, you know, you know, it's a bit damaging, you know, if someone has a £100 return or says they didn't receive it, and it's a very different matter, isn't it? Because that's you know, that's a lot of money. So I think they'll probably answer that question a little bit better, how to deal with scammers. But I can say that it's not really an issue for me. It's not, I can't think of any situation where someone's particularly tried to scam me, you know. And that's a good sign, you know, that's a good thing, because we do obviously, when we talk about it in the reseller community, you're obviously going to talk about, you know, a bad experience, and then people get worried that there's a lot of scammers about. You know, for the majority of people are nice, you know, but you get the odd few, don't you?
Yeah, of course, it always comes up every now and again. Well, I think the key takeaway from this is that you need to make a decision whether you want to lose sleep over it or you don't want to, if it's worth pursuing or is it not.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
again, like we say, that depends on the price. It's worth pursuing if you've got over £100 item, or someone sends an item back broke and say it didn't work. I'm sure, like I said, the others will touch on that. It is worth pursuing, but you know, for me, for a £20 or £30, it's not worth pursuing. But like I say, and I'd expect as well, it's different on each marketplace as well. It's the level of scams you might get. You know, Etsy, it tend to not get, you know, scammers. It tends to kind of like flow okay for me anyway. And I mean, if anything, it'll be eBay saying an item has not arrived. But because now they've got the built-in postage on eBay, you know, it automatically uploads the tracking, so that's narrowed, you know, that down straight away as well. Even though you can still get, they say, well, it has been delivered, Hermes say it's delivered, and they say hasn't. You still get the odd few, but it's certainly, you know, nothing to lose sleep over, nothing to, you know, take up your day worrying about stuff.
Yeah, I actually, I can say from my own experience, because I sold handmade items, pretty expensive ones, labor-intensive ones. So I was fighting my cases every time, basically.
I understand that. I would too. Yeah.
But normally, when you have added the tracking information on eBay and it shows that it has been delivered, if the case goes to eBay, at least in all of the cases that I had, it was decided that I was right, basically. So yeah, it's always good to have that tracking information present there, I think, just to have some security
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
yourself.
Security, yeah. Peace of mind for you as well, isn't it? If you're sending something so expensive or so, like you say, labor intensive, you want to make sure it gets to them.
Absolutely. But okay, Queenie, thank you so much. We're a little bit over time now, so I'll need to jump ahead. Is there anything else you would like to share? Any encouragement? Anything at all at the end?
I mean, I think we could go back right from the start as well about if you're just starting your journey with reselling. Everybody says the same thing. It's a reseller. Start with what you've already got in your house and start with what you already know, and don't worry about too much about what am I going to sell. I don't know enough about this, don't know enough about it, because you'll learn that as you go along. Sell what you've got already, what you own of, sell what you're familiar with, and take your first trip down to the charity shop and or a car boot and pick up stuff that you like you say, if you've got kids, about toys. If you've got older kids, about gaming. There's always something and something you can sell on, and the rest will just flow as you go along. So
that's great. Words of wisdom. Thank you so much, Queenie.
Okay.
Cheers. Josh, can I ask you to step on the stage, because the next speaker, Doug, is unfortunately not here yet. Is that fine by you?
Yep, no problem.
That's wonderful. Great. Right, Josh, can you please do the same thing? Just introduce yourself a little bit, tell about your business, who you are, what you do.
Okay, so my name is Josh. I go by JD Network on YouTube and Instagram. I started reselling about 5 years ago now. I found it through YouTube, like most resellers do. We stumble upon some big YouTubers, and you kind of get a bit intrigued, and you kind of give it a go, and then you become addicted to reselling, and then it takes over your life. That's kind of the similar story for most people. Before reselling, I was a chef. I did that for 2 years, and then I was a restaurant manager, and then I kind of fell out of love with that job. It was long hours, hard work, miserable customers, because it's hospitality and you get a few of them. And I thought, I'm done with this. Let's go and do something on my own. And I just went headfirst into reselling, and here I am 5 years later, still doing it, and still very much enjoying it.
That sounds wonderful. That's a reselling dream, basically.
Pretty much.
Very good. Okay, so maybe can you tell us about your one day as a reseller? How does your day look like?
Oh, well, I'm not a morning person, so I don't get out of bed till like 10 or 11 o'clock. And then it's usually post and packaging. And then usually I try and do 10 listings a day. I think most resellers stick to 10 a day. It's always good to keep boosting the eBay algorithm, keep it happy. So I do 10 listings a day, and then it's pretty much, that's it, I'm done. I probably have the most relaxed reselling career out of most resellers, to be honest. Very stress-free life, very chill, yeah, enjoyable.
You do look very happy. I'm very glad to see that. Yes. But right, let's go into more specifics. Well,
yes.
I know what you're selling, but can you tell the other people as well, what are you selling and why are you selling these items specifically?
So when I first started, I was selling Lego because I loved Lego like 5 or so years ago. I started selling my Lego collection. It then turned into buying Lego hauls off eBay and flipping them. But I kind of knew if I wanted to do this full time, I needed to go into a different niche or find a different area to buy and resell. I went to my car boots, my charity shops, checked my local auction houses, and I saw there was a big market for vintage home goods and vintage kitchenware. So that's kind of how I jumped into that. There was an open market, I saw an opportunity, and I took it. Because at the car boots, there's tons of vintage, vases and decorations and kitchenware. No one's touching it. So I kind of had free reign over all those items, and I could pick all of them with no problems. So that's kind of how I got into that, and it's been great. I've really been enjoying it. It's very, very difficult sometimes to gauge what is and worth isn't picking up, but once you kind of learn the top 5 or 10 name brands of pottery and vases and glass makers, it's really kind of easy. So yeah, I've been enjoying that.
That's good. I remember when I started at Zipsale, I picked up some Marks and Spencer autumn leaves, some stuff, just to test list and see how it goes. I sold it at a great loss, a massive loss. I had just picked up a very random item from a charity shop, and I think I lost like £9 or something. So it's definitely. It's an art to learn. But for you, how did you have any similar situations like I did, that you picked something up and it sold for much less or even at a loss?
I think I'm very lucky in the fact that I don't like to spend money on items. If it's not 50p or a pound, I'm probably not going to buy it. So when it comes to that situation, no, because I don't particularly buy it for a lot. There have been times where I've spent a lot of money on the auction house and I've been worried about making my money back. There have been times where I've purchased things at an auction house, and because they don't take the best photos, there's more damaged things than you realize. So your profit's impacted. I don't tend to sell things at a loss. I just kind of hoard them until they sell. I think, I've got items here for 2 or 3 years and I'm going to keep them. I'm not going to get rid of them.
Never give up. That's a very good attitude as well. Well, I did a really bad rookie mistake. So I'm glad that you haven't had that situation yourself. But in general for you, so how often do you, how to say, step aside from your known path and pick something completely new from a charity shop or a car booth and try to see if it works? Do you have any good examples?
Yes, just recently. So I'm the type of person that gets very bored of repetition. I don't like listing the same thing week in, week out. I don't like buying the same thing all the time. So I do occasionally jump into different avenues. Recently, I purchased a big load of jewelry because I want to learn jewelry. So I've been buying kilos and kilos of jewelry. I brought some paperweights recently. So I'm trying to open my niche up just a little bit over the winter months when sourcing is a little bit slower. I can then rely on jewelry or more things at the auction house. I have a kind of a larger range to buy. So yeah, I definitely have been trying to branch out a little bit and learn more. But I'd say if you want to learn more, definitely go for it. Don't hold back, just buy a big bundle. And if you lose a bit of money, you lose a bit of money, but then you've actually got some experience and a bit of education there that you didn't have beforehand.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice. Right, I'll move to the second topic, which is about making buyers aware. So can you tell our listeners on which marketplaces do you sell and why do you sell in these marketplaces?
Okay, so before Zipsale, it was just eBay and Etsy. The items I pick up are great for eBay. People are always looking for spare teacups and saucers and vases. And then people kept telling me, list on Etsy, list on Etsy. Your items are perfect for the Etsy market. Because the Americans love buying British goods, overseas. They love coming and buying the British stuff on Etsy. There's a bigger American demand on Etsy for British goods. Now with Zipsale, I've been cross-listing more and I've been selling loads to America, as I was told. So it's all working out great. But then now I've added in Depop because people keep saying to me, the teenagers, the students, they go onto Depop to buy homeware, home decor, and other sort of bits like that. I have, however, noticed the pricing of each free market is different. So eBay is kind of your generic. Etsy, you can ask for quite a bit more. You can put the price up a little bit. Depop, I found that I get a bit less. So it's kind of a range of different things sell for more on different platforms, basically.
Okay, that makes sense. So this is basically just testing and trying for you as well, how you adjust the prices and so on.
Yeah, so I've kind of been recently listing different items on different platforms or raising the price on some and lowering on others, because until you kind of get the gauge of the value of things on the different platforms, I can then know, is it worth my time cross-listing 50 of these things onto Depop if they're not really worth the same as they are on Etsy? It's not worth my time cross-listing them all. So yeah, definitely it's a trial and sort of error experience.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I understand. And when it comes to listing your items, are you doing anything special? What is the most important part of your listing?
So the kind of things I buy, pattern is the big one. If people are collecting a specific pattern or a specific brand, you need to make that sure that's in the title, the description, the keywords, it's everywhere. Just plaster it all over the listing. When it comes to the picture, depends on what it is. So if it's, let's say, a teacup and saucer, you need to take pictures of them both together, them separately, the undersides, the print. People like to make sure the print isn't damaged or scratched. If it's something like a vase, you need to make sure the measurements are there in inches and centimeters, because you can put it in inches, but then you'll get a message saying, what's it in centimeters? So you need to kind of prepare for these customers who are going to be a little bit silly and aren't going to use Google to convert measurements. But yeah, just make sure everything is on the listing for pattern name, brand name, the style, the size. Just cover all your topics and you should be pretty good. That's all I do generally.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense too. I'm just wondering, have you ever had any experience that a customer bought something from you, they received it, and they were like, oh, this is absolutely not what I expected, either the size or the condition or anything that you learned the hard way from?
I had a bad buyer buy some broken jewelry from me as like a craft job lot. And then they left me negative feedback and sent me a really snotty message saying it was all broken, but it was sold as broken jewelry. So I didn't quite understand that one. And eBay stepped in and sorted that out for me. But you are going to get those people that don't read the measurements. And I've had someone before saying it's smaller than it looked in the pictures, even though the measurements are in the description, the measurements are in the title, and you're going to get those people. You just have to explain it was in the description. They're free to return it. You know, if change of mind, you're happy to take it. As long as you approach it in the right situation and the right approach, the customer's always going to be left happy because they know they can return it for a full refund, or, you know, they might have missed it in the description and they go, sorry, that was my fault. No problem. Thank you for letting me know. So always approach it in a positive way, and generally they should be happy to.
Yeah, I completely support that approach as well. I'm just wondering, I know that I've had it in the past where people have written to me, especially on eBay, and said that something was not quite right. Maybe I can get like 20% off or even 50% off. So those people, they don't want to return the item, but they want to get the little discount. Have you had that situation yourself?
A couple of times, and the way that I approach it is, what is the issue that they're mentioning? Was it something that I had missed? Because occasionally I have maybe missed a scratch or a mark on a pattern print, and the collectors are quite serious about prints and patterns being perfect. So if it's something that I've missed, I generally just give them what they want and just get rid of them. It's the easiest way to deal with it. But if it's something that they're just being a little bit silly and a bit petty about, I just go return it for a full refund and just leave it at that. That's that's eBay's way of dealing with it, is return it for a refund. But if I can jump in and stop an item coming back for like a 20% refund, sometimes it's just worth doing.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, you probably need to assess those situations on a one-to-one basis. Like it's just not one size fits all. Right. Okay. I'm going to jump back to the previous topic for a second. So let's talk about external marketing. So we know that you have a YouTube channel. How important it is in your, not just reaching customers, but in general for your reselling journey and experience?
So the YouTube channel kind of keeps me in check a little bit. It keeps me accountable because I know I have to put a haul video up every week. It forces me to go out and buy stock every week. I do sale videos occasionally, and I know I need to get some good sales to do them. So it keeps me in check, keeps me in line. It makes sure I'm working. If I don't do a video, I'm not technically working. It's always good also to get that social aspect of YouTube. I've met some great people through it. You do get some sales from YouTube videos you do. People find your videos, they like an item, they will go and buy it. So there's that positive. Instagram, I'm not overly too big on, but again, I have done some kind of marketing there, and it's hit and miss for me because of the items I sell. If it was clothing, you would probably do a bit better than home goods for personal experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course. And right, well, talking about listings again. So I remember from the times when I started, I started on Etsy, and people on Etsy, especially, they struggle with getting views in the
Yep.
first place. It's a different world compared to eBay, etc. So, what would be your advice? How to get started, say on Etsy? Let's focus on Etsy for a second. How do you make sure that people find you in there?
So Etsy, at the very bottom of the listing tab, there's optional extras. I tend to fill all of them in when I can. That really does help with the algorithm and kicking you up the search results. But again, like Queenie said, it is the picture that will sell the item. If the picture is really bad, they're going to just scroll straight past it and not bother clicking it. So as long as you have a really good quality picture that's clear, it's well lit, people should generally go to the picture first. And then the title and the extras are what boosts you to the top to get that first click, hopefully. So if you're getting low views, and I know on eBay there's a way you can go and review how many kind of views you're getting. If that's very low, have a go at changing your photographs, have a go at changing your titles around, seeing if you can fill in any of those item specifics. It's very much trial and error. Does this work? Does that work? And the good thing about eBay is it will tell you if it's working because your charts will go, up and down, up and down. So definitely go into eBay, check your charts, see what's working, what isn't, and then make changes as and when needed.
Mm-hmm. And for example, on Etsy, the rumor has it that tags are super important. Do you have any experience with this, or do you know something that most people might not know about tags on Etsy?
So I haven't been listing on Etsy for too long, but I believe a tag just adds your item to that specific category of searches. So if your title is filled up with the actual item specifics and you want to put cottagecore or country living or something like that, that's the tag. So if someone searches that specific tag of items, it will bring up every item in that category. So like Queenie said, she pops in specific styles or like mod or something like that, or industrial. That's kind of where you want to put in the tags, those kind of keywords that people are going to search for because they like that style, they like that vibe. So 70s, 80s, 90s style. People will only generally buy certain styles. So if you can pop that in the tags, you'll get that market.
Yep, that's pretty much. I remember when I started on Etsy as well. I was obsessed. I was completely obsessed with the tags because everybody on the Etsy forum kept talking about it. Like, you need to get your tags right, otherwise people will never find your items. It definitely helps when you have like a very specific niche and you have
Yes.
those niche keywords in there as well, because I remember I was selling some, gothic stuff mostly and so on. So it was really important to know the keywords. To talk about keywords a bit more, do you do any research? Do you use any tools to check keywords at all, or do you just know them from your experience?
So I do a lot of my research through eBay solds, because if I'm seeing the same keyword in 5 or 6 different solds, that's a keyword I need to do more research into. So I generally do check eBay solds quite a bit. There are obviously different eras and markets and styles that you should generally learn from a get-go. Even if it's not in your category, it's good to know. I started listing jewelry and using like industrial and metalworked and that sort of stuff. So definitely check eBay solds if you're a beginner. It's a great way to grab keywords from different things. Make a spreadsheet, get a Word document open, type them down, do a description, or if you Google them, there's a couple of really good pre-made sheets showing you all the different breakdowns of what words mean, the styles of different things. So if you do some research, you should be able to find some really good sources online.
That's great. That's really good advice. I'm just looking at the time, being mindful of everybody being busy. I think we're going to stop it here with you. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your words of wisdom and your experience. Is there anything? Sure. Is there anything you would again, like I asked Queenie, is there any words of wisdom you would like to share at the end to encourage people or to warn them of something?
The only word of encouragement I could say is really go out of your comfort zone. When I first started, I was very held back. I wouldn't buy certain things because it was, too big or too small, or it was breakable, or it was heavy. Just really go out of your comfort zone every now and then, because you will surprise yourself. And the amount of times I've brought something out of my comfort zone and sold it for loads is crazy. So definitely push yourself every day and you'll learn a new market eventually.
That sounds great. Thanks again, Josh. Right. So unfortunately, Doug is still not here. George, would you be ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Happy days. Right, George, thank you so much for joining us. I assume that quite a lot of people probably know you, but would you please introduce yourself? Let people know who you are and what do you do.
Yeah, my name's George Ross. Again, full-time reseller. So that is my sole income, buying and selling people's secondhand stuff mainly. I specialize, well, I say I specialize in vintage and retro, but there's also clothing, homewares, furniture, I said clothing, but whatever it is, I can make a profit on it and I like it. That's what I sell. So that's why Zipsale is perfect for me, really. Because there's so many different niches I obviously have in my unit, and different platforms are stronger to different items, which is good. Something else about me, dad of 3 now. That's about it from me, and I have a YouTube channel.
Yes, of course. You do manage to do a lot. And just to go back in time a little bit, would you please share with people how did you discover reselling for yourself? How did it all start?
It literally started from wanting to collect my old toys back from the 90s. Like I had like Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, things like that. Obviously, they got lost or donated by mother over the years, like taking up the space. I just wanted to collect them again. So I was going to like charity shops, boot sales, even on eBay, just to try and collect a few that I had again. Like not a massive collection, just a few. And I just realized how much they actually sell for, what they're worth. Like I would find like a figure, for example, at a boot sale for like £1 or 50p. Look on eBay and it's worth 20. And it literally started from there. Oh, what else is worth more on eBay that I can find at boot sales? Then it went to furniture. So I went from small to massive. So I was literally buying like sideboards, display units, like mid-centuries, like 60s, 70s. Now I've sort of gone back to medium-sized stuff. So electronics, trainers, things like that. It's just literally started from a few collection things to what it is now.
So there obviously sounds like a lot of testing and trying for you. Is there like any specific category that you have tried, but it hasn't worked out for you, or is everything working out great?
I tend to try and challenge myself every year. Like last year or the year before was like watches. I wasn't buying watches very much, and I know they're quite collectible. That's probably something I tried and sort of failed. I've not really failed, but there's so many fakes, and you need to know what you're doing to fix it if something's not working. So that's probably something I haven't necessarily done so much. And then I used to do like glassware and crockery sort of things, but with me being quite clumsy, that doesn't go quite well. So that's something else I've sort of dropped, unless it's like a really good piece, like the one-off piece. So yeah, if it's breakable and then it doesn't
That's a really good criteria.
Yeah.
If it's breakable, I'm not going to touch it just in case.
Basically.
Very good. Yeah, you learn from experience, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned car boots. I'm actually wondering. I've never been in a car boot. So let's say that. Yeah, I know it's weird. I don't know how that happened, but I want to go in a car boot and I want to pick up items to sell. What do I do? What do you do?
Well, literally, I started from what I knew. So I was looking for my old toys, for example. So yeah, start with what you already know, your interests. So another example, if you're into your clothes, like you know the brands you like, what things are worth. So like obviously Primark isn't going to be worth much, and then you obviously get like brands, Ralph Lauren and whoever else. Yeah, so just start with what you know already. Don't like jump in with something you don't know, because that's when the fails start. Like you might pick up something fake, or there might be damage, or something like accessories might be missing. So like if you're not sure on toys, you pick up a toy and it's missing a vital piece and you
Yeah.
don't know about it. Obviously, yeah, start from what you know and then maybe creep into something you're not sure about, and just let you take it bit by bit, and then the snowball should get bigger like it has with me.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's good. I'll give it a try. I'm actually since I keep on talking to resellers, I'm feeling really inspired because you all had very inspiring stories, and I'm like, I want to try. I want to see if that works out. So I'll let you know.
Good.
Right. Okay, I'll move to the next topic, which is about making buyers aware. So let's talk about marketplaces. Which marketplaces do you sell on, and why do you sell on these marketplaces?
For how many years? Probably 3 or 4 years. It was eBay and nothing but eBay. And then I started getting a bit frustrated with their algorithms. And if you're not doing exactly what they want, your searches will start going down, your sales will go down, then up and up and down. So then I heard about Depop. I tried Etsy in the past. This was a few years ago when I was doing the furniture. It was quite slow. It was still sort of developing. So I've always tried to dabble in different marketplaces, but especially with 2020, the pandemic last year, and sales dropping, I decided like the new year, I'm going to start spreading out as much as I can. So I now, and because I have such a vast range of stuff, I've got now eBay, Depop, Vinted, Etsy, I sell on Facebook, and then the odd thing on YouTube as well. So that's 6, 5.5, 6. And I'm always looking for more. Like I'm probably, hopefully next year, going to start my own website as well. So that's a 7th one. But then obviously I don't want to spread myself too thin either. So like the one item that could be listed on 4 or 5 different platforms would take quite a while, going one by one by one.
Yeah.
So again, coming back to Zipsale, just do it once, fill out the others, like a few extra bits, and it's done. And then also you don't get caught out selling stuff twice as well, which is quite important.
That's great. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get more marketplaces hopefully in the beginning of next year as well, and we'll absolutely keep on developing the tool. So you mentioned Vinted. So Vinted is a little bit of an elephant in the room, I would say. So I know that a lot of people do want to sell on Vinted. Some people have negative experiences. Some people are afraid to try. And the main reason for it is because, as you know, Vinted is basically focused on individuals selling their used goods. But as a so-called, let's say you're a professional reseller, how do you manage to sell in there? Is there any trick or a tip, or is there like a specific type of items that you sell in there?
What, just on Vinted, do you mean?
Yeah, just Vinted, yeah.
I saw that terms and conditions as well, and there's actually another YouTuber, Retro Jamie. He actually contacted Vinted, like went straight to them. I was like, just said, I buy and sell items for a profit. I know you say you don't allow professional sellers,
Yeah.
but is it okay? This is what I do. I make a profit. Is it okay? And actually came back to him saying, yes, they welcome that. The thing with professional selling, they don't want sort of new bulk sellers. So say like a Chinese type seller,
Yeah, of course.
load of like hundreds of items, like one new listing. I think that's what they mainly are trying to avoid. I was going to contact them myself just to confirm this. So this isn't like concrete or anything. That's just what he's put out there. And so far, I haven't had any messages from Vinted. I've just been carrying on it's all secondhand goods. If something's new, I don't put on vintage, just in case that does trigger anything. So as long as it's secondhand, you're sort of recycling the item, I think they welcome that. But yeah, that's not concrete, and I was going to do a bit more research into that myself.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that we are looking into as well, because we know that a lot of people would like to use vintage, but they're sometimes a bit doubtful about that. There is Vinted Pro that has been introduced in France already. It's been rolled out,
Okay.
which is basically meant for professional resellers. So they're actually keenly aware that there is more people who would like to go on and Vinted and sell more. There is a rumor that it will be rolled out in the UK as well. So hopefully that's the case, and everybody can breathe a bit more easily.
That's news to me. I didn't even hear about that, Vinted Pro. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that'd be more than welcomed if it does get rolled out.
right. Well, I'm like a hawk. I keep looking at it, like refresh, see if it's available in the UK already or not. But yeah, somebody, yes, Josh just mentioned it in the chat as well. So obviously, if we get news, we'll share the news with everyone as well.
That'd be
But
perfect.
moving back to listing items. So is there anything special you do with your listings? What is the most important part of your listing of an item?
I'm probably going to repeat what the other two said, and the number one thing is good pictures. That is easily the best thing to do, and then it comes up with then you can worry about item titles, keywords. But yeah, if you've got poor pictures and a good title, you're going to be better to have a better picture with a naff title, because that's the first thing people will see. I know personally, like when we're redecorating, like we like our secondhand vintage stuff, I will like scroll, just look through the pictures. I don't even look at the title. Like, oh, I like that picture. I like this item. And then I'll look at the title, then look at the description. So sort of in that order. Yeah, picture, title, then description. So yeah, good lighting. Lighting's dirt cheap now. Obviously, you can go on Amazon, get a lighting kit for like 20, 30 quid, like for a cheap small one. And then you can obviously go up from there. Smartphones, they're built in now, like whatever megapixels we're up to now, 20 plus megapixels. So there's almost no bad excuse really, or no good excuse for having poor pictures. And then when it comes to the title, you want to put in as many keywords as possible. So like with trainers, obviously make, model, there's normally a model number, what year it came out, what design it is, what color it is, what size. Yeah, you just want to use as much of the title as possible. And fill out as many item specifics as you can, like the drop down menus. People search through that more and more now. So yeah, don't get lazy when it comes to specifics. It's annoying, but it definitely helps.
Yeah, of course. And when it comes to titles, again, I'm going by rumors, so I'll just ask you about those things. Rumor has it that titles should be organized differently for different marketplaces. Is that true in your opinion?
I've heard of it. It's not something I do.
Okay.
Probably through a bit of laziness. I just copy and paste the exact same title. But yeah, I have heard this, and it probably does have a small effect. But I tend to do obviously what it is, then like the size or the style. Yeah, I'm not really sure actually about thinking about it. But yeah, I just sort of put as much in as I can, so it sort of goes through all the platforms. So I'm not missing anything out on any platform. If I wanted to, I could chop and change it, but that's adding extra effort for me. And I'm juggling a lot of balls at the minute, so I need to limit
Yeah,
my
of
time as
course.
much as possible.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And for example, Josh here mentioned that he is adjusting his prices per marketplace. So he has different pricing. Do you do that as well?
That is one thing I do change actually, the pricing. And I had the perfect example today. I sold a typewriter on Etsy for $89.99 this morning. And on eBay, it was up for $49.99. So I've basically made 40 quid extra that it would have sold on eBay and sold it on Etsy for 40 quid more. And then obviously it's not all higher. Say again, starting with eBay, say I got a £30 pair of trainers. Depop, I might list it for 28, maybe the same price, 28. Vinted, because Vinted doesn't have any fees at all, I can go a bit lower, so 25 maybe for a £30 item. And then with Etsy, when it comes to vintage items, you can actually ask a bit of a premium. I'm not sure why that is, but that seems to be the way it is. I think Etsy is more, they have more trust in the sellers than on other platforms. So that might be why they pay a little premium. It's not always 50 to 90. Like if I was to sell a typewriter, I normally sell sort of, if it's listed on eBay for 50, I'll ask 55, 60 on Etsy. So yeah, there's something I do juggle around with.
Okay, so it's definitely worth trying to play around with the prices a bit and see if it works. Right, and well, that's the question I've asked the others as well, but I think it's a really important one, especially for new resellers. How do you get those views? We spoke about Etsy before, but I know that in the beginning I was really struggling with that as well. I loaded up my shops, etc. Nobody even looked at my items. So how do you bring people to your shops?
I'm still learning Etsy myself. I tried it back in 2017, I think it was, and I dropped it because I wasn't getting many views. I had maybe 1 or 2 sales in like half a year that I was trying it with. Since I've started again, I don't know what I've done different, but it's definitely working better. But I think it is like with Etsy, you need longer titles, loads of keywords, again, good pictures, using the tags as well. With eBay, they have different tools now. Like you can promote your listings, you can pay a little bit extra. I tend to do sort of 1-2% promoted listing fees, and that can help boost up the rankings. It's not the best, obviously you're paying to do that, but it definitely helps overall for an extra 1-2% on your item. And again, it's just like maybe being consistent with your photos. Like I have my unique background. Everyone knows, oh, that's George's item because I've got this certain background. I like to stand out. That might be going against what people want actually, or the platforms that eBay, they like a white background, nice and plain and boring. I rebel against that a little. I used to have like a grass background, like a wooden background, and now I've got this retro mad thing going on. So it's not really with the algorithm, but it still seems to help. So I think it stands out, it's consistent, it's quirky. So I'm going more towards that. So
Yeah.
anything to make you stand out. Yeah, you can play it 2 ways, stand out or go with the algorithm. It's a couple of different choices. Yeah, promoting, having sales. If you're slowing down a bit, want to attract more attention, run a sale. And then just getting good feedback. You'll get word of mouth and people will come back to you.
Yeah, of course. And well, the big question for you, especially external marketing, YouTube and Instagram. How come you get so many views on YouTube? There is a lot of engagement on Instagram. How did you get there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I literally, I don't get many sales from YouTube or Instagram. Not as many as people might think. I get the odd 1 or 2, maybe every week or so. But I literally started YouTube, when was it? January 2019. It was like a New Year's resolution. So I'm just going to give this a go. And it just sort of worked. I've always liked making videos. I know, and obviously enjoy reselling. I have a passion for it, and they sort of just combined and done really well. And it's now part of my business now. Obviously, you get money from adverts and things. So it's like a part-time income.
In progress.
Plus, I enjoy doing it as well. So yeah, it's more, my YouTube channel is more sort of teaching you how to do it instead of like marketing, like selling stuff. But if people want to help support me and they make the odd sale to me just to help me out, then yeah, I would say thanks. Yeah, I could push it more if I wanted, but I think that people wouldn't like that so much if I was like, I'll buy this. So sort of, you got to balance it out.
Yeah, of course. And well, when it comes to that reselling community, obviously there is quite a lot of people in the UK who are part or full-time resellers. how important has the community been for you, that people share their experiences and come out and discuss things?
Massively. It's obviously, it was a lonely job before I found the community, and it's complete chance I found my first YouTube video on it. But the community helps with even things like glitches, or if sales are going slow, you can bounce off each other. So it's not just you, like there might be a glitch, people can't pay. You might think there's something wrong with your card, and just a quick, simple like message on Instagram or on Facebook, and you know it's just a communal thing. eBay messed something up again. So it goes from small things like that, or to encouraging each other. So if you're feeling a bit down, sales are slow, you've got people to talk to. So it's not just like tips all the time, what to buy, what to sell. Like boost your morale back up. You can compare numbers if you want, little competitions, tips and tricks again. For free. You don't have to pay for it. Obviously, Instagram and things like that. So yeah, it's been vital to my business, especially when picking up different items that I haven't touched before.
Yeah, it sounds really good, and my impression is as well that the resellers are very supportive of each other, and you know, cheering each other on, and you know, telling them to keep going and keep trying.
Yeah, I think the old mentality of like antiques dealers is they've got their book of secrets and they lock it away. They don't share it with anyone. I think
Yeah.
time's moved on now, where there's so many people like in the country, like to buy stuff. You're not just going to run out of buyers all of a sudden. And again, all the different platforms. So keeping stuff to yourself, I can't really see that being a positive now, where times have changed. Everything's online. It's not even a country. Like, obviously, we sell to the world now, like with the global shipping program, or just postage in general. Like clothes is easy to sell abroad. Yeah, it's definitely worth sharing your tips and tricks, and then you can learn some new ones yourself.
Yeah, that's I think that's the key takeaway from this webinar as well. I think we're going to wrap up now. Unfortunately, Doug was not able to make it here today. I hope he's fine. I'll catch up with him after the webinar. George, thank you so much.
No worries.
As for the others as well, words of wisdom, is there any encouragement, anything you would like to tell people who are just at the start or during their reselling journey?
Yeah. If you're thinking of starting, just start. It's probably the cheapest business to start. You could take a £5 out with you, a £10 note to the boot sale. You could buy a bag, like an IKEA bag full of stuff, and you could potentially make like over £100 just from one £10, and then obviously again snowball from there. So there's no like barrier to entry. It's enjoyable. You can work for yourself, work as much as you want, work as less as you want. If you're reselling now, expand your horizon. Like, don't just stick with one or two platforms. There's more out there, and they're gaining traction on like the big hitters like Amazon and eBay. So yeah, spread your eggs out in many baskets, and just keep enjoying it.
That sounds great. I think it wraps our conversation up really well today. So thank you again. Just a couple of remarks at the end. Again, for all the attendees, thank you so much for joining in. I am really hopeful that we can make this a series of how to grow your reselling business, have a little bit of more specific topics. So once again, I will be sending you an email after this webinar with the recording and everything. Feel free to reach out to me. For example, if there are specific topics you're especially interested in discussing, etc. Also, a couple of reminders. I will be sending you a link to it's called Zipsale community, but what we are trying to create on Facebook is a platform for resellers who are selling on multiple platforms. Most of the communities, as far as I know, they're focused on, either eBay or Etsy or Depop, etc. So in our Facebook group, any questions about selling on multiple platforms are super welcome. Any discussions, The link will be in the email together with the recording of this webinar. And also one reminder, if you would like to try out Zipsale, please do. We have a little refer a friend program. I will be adding this link to the email as well. So basically, if you sign up, you'll get a little promo code. If your friend signs up and starts listing, per each referral, you'll get £10 cash. Well, we are paying those sums out at the end of each calendar month, and I will be the person who will be in contact with you in regards to this. So if you have done this already, just check your inbox. And meanwhile, again, reach out to me with any questions, anything at all. And again, thanks a million for Queenie, for Josh, and for George for sharing their experiences. I really appreciate you took the time. And I hope that everybody had a nice hour plus with us. So thank you again, and I'll hopefully talk to you all soon. Have a very nice afternoon. Thank you. Bye-bye.